Good morning, everybody. Here it is, almost 10 o'clock. We seem to have this reasonably loose schedule going on around 10, 9:45 to 10:15, somewhere in there. It is, what is it, Thursday. Thursday, May the 7th. Hard to keep track of days sometimes during all of this since our schedules are up in the air. But we're going to jump right into chapter number 7. We mentioned that chapters 5, 6, and 7 all deal with the strange woman or the strange man, depending on which direction you're viewing it, whatever perspective you have. And today is the final chapter of those three warnings. So, Solomon giving his son Rehoboam ample warning about hooking up with the wrong kind of woman. And this whole chapter nearly deals with that subject, with the exception of the first 5 verses being another warning about making wisdom the primary thing in your life. So let's jump into it. Father, bless us, help us to learn today. I pray you'd encourage people in their hearts. A lot of struggling folks these days, and a lot of different circumstances that are causing that struggle. Some are struggling because they don't want to get out. Others are struggling because they want to get out. Everybody's struggling a bit, maybe because we have been stuck at home, can't do what we'd normally like to do. Our effectiveness for you has certainly been reined in. Would you encourage people today? Give us a good day. It's going to be a beautiful day out there. I pray that we'd get out and enjoy some sunshine and fresh air and be a benefit that way. Bless this study, please, in Christ's name. Amen. May. Proverbs 7. Here we go. My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Again, this is just repetition for the sake of emphasis. Keep my commandments and live, and my law as the apple of thine eye. Bind them upon thy fingers, write them upon the table of thine heart. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman, that they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger which flattereth with her words. And so now the chapter will shift and go into the warnings of the wrong kind of woman. But notice the extreme emphasis put on making wisdom the principal thing in your life. And I think he already gave us that. I don't recall. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. So here we go. This is a picture painted of a young man falling prey to the wrong kind of woman. I believe it's a true story based on verse number 6. For at the window of my house I looked through my casement. So Solomon's saying, I watched this scenario go down. So here's what he sees. Verse 7. And beheld among the simple ones, I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding. So he paints it very clear that this is a young man who doesn't know what he's about to get himself into. He's also simple. Remember the 4 people in Proverbs: wise, simple, foolish, and scorners. Wise people know God's principles and abide by them. Foolish people know God's principles, choose to ignore them. Scorners know God's principles and choose to ruin other people in spite of them. And then the simple ones are ones that they're neither wise nor foolish. They're uneducated. As this verse says, this young man is void of understanding. So this is a very easy snare or trap for a young person to fall into. They just don't know the danger lying ahead. So here's what happens. Verse number 8, this young man void of understanding, passing through the street near her corner, and he went the way to her house. So remember when we talked about a couple of days ago, turn from it, pass not by it, go away from it, and pass away, something like that. 4 different admonitions to stay away from the wrong places. And here's a guy, he is where he shouldn't be. He's someplace that he has no business being. And by the way, for a Christian, there are a number of places we just have no place even being there. And I know some folks try to take the angle of, well, you know, you got to be like them in order to win them, and that's simply not the case. We win a whole lot of folks, then we don't behave anything like them. So let's move on here. Passing through the street near her corner, he went the way to her house. Here's another warning sign. Verse 9: in the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night. I remember hearing a story that Ben Franklin told. He had some guests over to his house, and as he is entertaining them and enjoying their company, precisely at 10 o'clock, he stands to his feet and he says, "Well, folks, I must retire now, for all good and decent people are home and preparing for bed at this time." And it's just interesting to me that he'd phrase it that way: all good and decent people. Look, not a lot good happens on the street after dark. Once the sun sets, should go home, go to your houses. If you're visiting an acquaintance, that's one thing, but when you're on the street after dark, trouble's going to find you. I live in a pretty dangerous city, city of Flint here, and just this past week, I saw a news report of a guy who stole a van at gunpoint. And then I heard a news report of a young man who shot a security guard in the back of the head at a Family Dollar simply because he was told to wear a mask, or his mother was told to wear a mask. They're still on the loose. That father and son are, that were involved. The mother's been arrested. And then I heard a story. I've been told it was in Michigan. I haven't researched it myself yet, but of a couple that shot and killed a McDonald's employee because they wanted to eat inside the restaurant. So there's danger on the streets, and it's no place for someone who's trying to avoid trouble. After dark, get home. I remember being a kid and seeing billboards and commercials. It's 2 a.m. Do you know where your children are, and that kind of thing. Next, verse number 10: and behold, there met him a woman with the attire of an harlot and subtle of heart. So here comes a woman who's up to no good. How can you tell she's up to no good? Her appearance tells you she's up to no good. Now, this is something that's not very popular these days. People push back on this, but your appearance says something about you. Now, to be fair, you can look clean cut and on the up and up and still have a wicked heart and be up to no good. And you can look like somebody who's up to no good and have a good heart. But by and large, the appearance you try to present in the public is what you're trying to be known for. Halloween time, we wear costumes because clothing represents something. You're going to go as a farmer, you're going to go as a soldier, you're going to go as a princess. Clothing says something about us. And here, the Bible says that there is a type of clothing that harlots wear, that prostitutes wear. And so, of course, any godly woman should seek to dress completely the opposite of that. Godly men should also dress appropriately and modestly. And so we're told here that your clothing says a lot about you. It also says that she's subtle of heart. She's looking to take advantage of someone. It's who she is. Verse 11: she is loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. The Bible is clear that we're to be building families and homes. And throughout history, of course, men have typically been the ones to go earn the living, while ladies have been the ones to take care of the home and keep the home and help care for the children and their needs. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's a necessity. Someone needs to be home. Someone has to take care of the running of the home. Someone has to take care of the children. But we've told our ladies that that's demeaning and that it has no value. And that's wicked to claim that someone who holds the greatest influence over a child's heart is valueless. It's really frustrating, and I'll tell you, we're seeing the ramifications of that because we've neglected to care for our children and train them and raise them as we ought to. So here she is. She's loud, she's stubborn, her feet abide not in her house. Verse 12, by the way, just to give you ladies some help there, men, when they're not working and doing things that they ought to do, they ought to be home as well, taking care of the needs of the house and being there for their wives and their children also. Verse 12: now is she without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. So this lady's always out on the streets. She's looking for trouble. She's looking for somebody to lure in. So she caught him and kissed him, and with an impudent face said unto him. That word impudent means disrespectful. So she's almost arrogant, cocky. Now, who's she being disrespectful toward? Well, she's disrespecting herself because ladies don't behave this way. Secondly, she's disrespecting this young man by coming on to him the way that she is. There's thirdly, and we haven't gotten to it yet, but I believe she's a married woman and she's disrespecting her husband and her marriage. So, verse 11, or 14 rather. I have peace offerings with me. This day have I paid my vows. So she's claiming some spirituality here. You know, I have been down to the temple today, and I gave my tithes, I gave my offerings to the Lord, and I brought a peace offering. So I'm a good girl. I'm the kind of girl that you want in your life. Therefore came I forth to meet thee, diligently to seek thy face, and I have found thee. Look at the way she's flattering him and building his ego up. She's saying, you're the guy I've been looking for. Specifically, you. You're the one who means this much to me. The reality is, if he hadn't shown up, she'd be saying the same thing to somebody else. Verse number 16. I have decked my bed with coverings of tapestry, with carved works, with fine linen of Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with love. So she's saying, I've prepared for you. My bedroom is ready. My bed is ready. We got the candles lit. We got the rose petals on the bed, the whole 9 yards, right? She's trying to seduce him and set up this scenario where she's prepared for him. And again, him alone, right? Not somebody else, not a different guy, but she's just in love with him. And then verse 19, this is where we get into the marriage here. For the goodman is not at home. He is gone a long journey. He hath taken a bag of money with him and will come home at the day appointed. So she's saying, look, my husband's not at home. He'll never find out. You don't even have to come home with me and then leave tonight. You can stay until the morning. We can spend the whole night together. I'll fix you a nice breakfast. You don't have to worry. My husband's gone. And what a wicked, wicked way to approach life. Cheating on the person that's devoted their life to you, leading astray simple young men, young women. Verse 21. And here we go. With her much fair speech, she caused him to yield. And with the flattering of her lips, she forced him. So she got him. She seduced him. He went home with her. And Solomon watched all of this happen. Now, we think of the story of Joseph. And Joseph is in Potiphar's house. Potiphar's wife, starts coming on to Joseph, and he just runs, which is the right response when you find yourself in a scenario like this. You get out of there. You get out of Dodge. Here he is. He's on a street he shouldn't be on, after dark when he shouldn't be there. This woman catches him, and she wears him down. And so instead of not going where he shouldn't have been, not going there when he shouldn't have been there, not allowing her to convince him, he does all of it wrong. And it's because he's simple. He's buying into this. The things that she's telling him are wearing him down. And we've got to watch those people who don't mean good. They only mean ill for us, and they will work on us, and they'll wear us down. Verse number 22. He goeth after her straightway, as an ox goeth to the slaughter, or as a fool to the correction of the stocks. You know, the ox that's going to slaughter, he doesn't know that he's going to slaughter. He has no idea. He's just walking down the tunnel and getting ready to have his life taken, has no idea what's in store for him. Such is the case here with this guy. He has no idea what he's in for. Verse 23, here it is. Till a dart strike through his liver, as a bird hasteth to the snare, and knoweth not that it is for his life. You know, when an animal's trapped and they're not aware of the trap, they have no idea that that's the day they're going to die. This young man, he thinks he's on top of the world. He thinks a beautiful woman wants him. He thinks that he's going to have the night of his life. And the Bible's telling us here he has no idea that it's going to cost him his life. Verse 24, hearken unto me now, therefore, O ye children, and attend unto the words of my mouth. Solomon's really doubling down here, and you got to think, he's taking an entire chapter and then the parts of chapters 5 and 6 to warn his son of this very danger. How many lives are ruined because of inappropriate sexual sins? Here's what his advice, verse 25. Let not thine heart decline to her ways. Go not astray in her paths. For she hath cast down many wounded. Yea, many strong men have been slain by her. So don't think you're going to be the guy that gets in and gets out and it's all going to be good. Don't think you're going to be the guy that gets away with this. There are women out there. There are men out there. For you ladies, they are seeking to do nothing but destroy your life and tear you down. Verse 27 really sends it home. Final verse of the chapter. Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. There are good women out there. There are bad women out there. There are good men out there. There are bad men out there. You're going to find good women and good men in different places, that you're going to find the wrong kind of women and the wrong kind of men. You're going to find them engaged in behaviors different one from another. You're going to find their appearance is different one from another. The goal is to get on our knees when we're looking for the person that God has for us and ask God to send them our way. Lord, single men should pray, send me the woman that you have for me. Young ladies, send me the man that you have for me. And then look for them in the right places. Tinder probably is not the place you're going to find your soulmate for life. These quick hookup sites and things of that nature, God's not going to bless that. That's not where you find the right kind of people. But get on your face and ask God to help and to bless. And then when the wrong kind of man or wrong kind of woman does cross your path, flee. Just like Joseph did. Get on out of there. All right. That's it for this morning. A little bit quicker, I think, today. 10:14 is all I've got for the time. Thanks for looking at this every day. Hopefully it's a blessing to you. We'll keep doing it as long as people are interested. Once nobody's interested anymore, we'll do something different, I suppose. But have a good day. It's going to be beautiful out there. God bless you.